Hello, everybody. It's Max with Crypto Talk now with this particular news update in regards to XDC, but most importantly, when it comes to the metaverse. So, what am I referring to? Well, let's jump right into it. And this, of course, was posted by this particular site, which is the News Crypto. And check this out for yourself. This was basically posted yesterday. It says Zinfin's first metaverse platform, which is Metabloqs, is basically advancing to its next phase, like it shows right here. And, when I looked more into this, I said to myself, man, this looks really, really impressive, to say the least. So in regards to the info on this, look at this. It says Metabloqs is the first Swiss metaverse built on the Zinfin blockchain network, XDC. Was created. A lot of hype, of course, since its launch, with more than 300,000 users already. That is super impressive. That means it's really, really standing out. Now, why is that? What does this entail? And so on. We'll get more into that. It says the real-world replication of original cities is meta-cities, and the revenue opportunity via decentralized trusted economy have drawn attention towards the metaverse project. In the third quarter of 2022, the beta version of the platform was launched to its first 5,000 users. The City of Culture, Light, and Art, Paris, was recreated as the initial meta-city of Metabloqs. Beta users were given the opportunity to explore the 7th arrondissement while enjoying the beauty of, course, the Eiffel Tower. Now, of course, when we get more into this, we're going to show you a particular clip and some footage straight from Metabloqs itself. It says the seed round token sale of the native token, which is BLOQS, is going to hit the market soon. The seed round sale constitutes 5% of the whole blocks, if you will. Functionalities of the blocks include the means of payment and access to any of the platform's functionalities. Now, in regards to the initial version of Metabloqs, that was compatible with only limited configurations. Opportunely, now the development team has pipelined the updates in the metaverse. Enhancements have been made both ways, technical as well as capacity-wise. Metabloqs team is very soon planning to open a virtual platform for 300,000 users with additional features. For instance, Mega Shrestha, who is the CEO and co-founder of Metabloqs, mentioned this specifically. She stated, quote, the metaverse enhancements are all outcomes of the feedback from the 5K meta citizens, and Metabloqs will always welcome constructive comments or improvement from its users. All prior build features, including Windows PC, Mac, and WebGL build compatibility, are included in a new and optimized 3D high-quality graphics metaverse. I don't know if it's specifically, for instance, Unreal Engine 5. I haven't seen the specifics on that. But again, I think these are a few of the questions I might go ahead and ask, for instance, this Thursday in regards to XDC's Ask Me Anything. By the way, if you want more info about that, check out the previous video for that specific date and info. It says, alongside the anticipation of the visual expansion, Meta's Paris Avenue des Champs Elise, I don't speak French, and the Meta Shopping District, of course, is lined up as the upcoming extension. Again, we'll show you some footage in regards to that. In regards to specifically about Metabloqs, I will read this, of course, verbatim as well. Listen to this. It says, as the first ever Swiss-based metaverse built on XDC, Metabloqs comes loaded with top-notch graphics, realistic real-world cities, individual entities, and much more. Metabloqs is positioned to become the trusted metaverse of choice for business, finance, education, and entertainment. The platform will be based in real-world locations, beginning with one of the most iconic cities of all, Paris. Participants are encouraged to use their real identities on an efficient KYC process, and also clear code of conduct will ensure a safe and compliant environment for everyone. Metabloqs enables collaboration, learning, interaction, and networking in an environment of trust for users. For brands, businesses, and educational bodies, it offers a one-stop solution to build presence in the metaverse. Now, here at Crypto Talk now, we cover another specific metaverse, which is like the likes of Zilliqa, right? I should say Zilliqa, but Metabloqs, which is part, of course, the Zilliqa's ecosystem. It's their standout metaverse play. One thing I do like a lot about this, not that I am bashing, of course, Zilliqa's Metabloqs. I really am impressed with that. But what stands out for me is having a real world location, right? The likes of Paris and so on. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically show you a particular clip. And on this particular one, I'm actually going to bring myself out of the frame where you guys can see a little bit better. But check this out for yourself. I thought this was really cool. It mentions specifically Metabloqs, the next era of retail, right? So, you know, there's something to be said about, for instance, having, certain areas that are kind of like just generated, not really real world locations. And I'm not against that and so on, but I also like recognizing different metaverses, what they have to, bring to the table, if you will. This one, I have to admit, for XDC to already have this type of user base really jumps or leapfrogs them, I should say, to the top of my list when it comes to metaverse platforms, and especially with real world locations. So I'm gonna play this. This is about 1 minute and 8 seconds, and then of course we'll come right back for some post commentary. Here we go. I don't know about you, but that really was super impressive. And a few key things I wanted to point out before we get right to their particular website is this basically, and that is, the way I look at it is, think about, for instance, like the malls that you used to go to, right? Before everybody, I hate to say, got lazy and went with Amazon and so on. And, and I get it. For instance, price sells, to say the least, right? The days before Amazon and online retail stores and whatnot, going to the mall, those particular prices of some of the, goods that you would buy and so on are pretty darn expensive, to say the least. Well, with this, when you compare it to other metaverses out there, it's like this particular metaverse, is futuristic looking. This particular one, it is basically a team's version of, hey, let's try to recreate, fantasy world, if you will. But this one specifically with XDC's Metabloqs, for instance, a whole new retail experience, right? Think about that in itself, what that entails. When people go online, the likes of Amazon and so on, it is that whole, new retail experience. Heck, Amazon is even the world's largest online retailer, right? Yeah, Walmart might be the world's largest retail store, if you will, or discount retail store in the world, but Amazon's definitely taken the cake within the last, 10, 15 years roughly. So for us to get something that kind of reproduces, if you will, a virtual environment of a mall, but actually taking real world locations, hence, this particular example with Paris, I think if anything, that's going to really help them stand out. Having 5,000 people that have done beta to test this out and, test out some of the bugs and so on, I think is another thing that really, really helped. And then, for instance, hearing about the support for up to 300,000 people, currently speaking, maybe that expands. That is huge to say the least. Like when you think about, for instance, in regards to video games, MMORPGs, right? Let's throw in like World of Warcraft, for instance. So that's a whole different type of environment. You're literally playing a set video game. You might be going on a raid, right? 40-man raid. And if anything, all the graphics that are being rendered, right? But this is a different type of thing because if anything, yeah, you have a lot of people on screen, but it's not the same type of thing. And if anything, like some of the things that you saw right here, for instance, recreating a virtual Paris, right? So imagine if that gets overwhelmed with activity, 300,000, that tells me that there's going to be, for instance, maybe a virtual New York, virtual Miami, LA, London, some of these other places in the world, right? Tokyo. So it'd be very interesting to see how this goes over moving forward. And I'm pretty excited with what I saw. I'll show you guys a little bit more info. Excuse me. Let me pull that up. And here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out on this particular one and come out of the frame just to kind of show you guys full screen. This is really, really impressive. And check this out. So it says, for instance, real people, real place, real value. I mean, come on. Look at this. Look at this particular stadium, right? Look at literally the Eiffel Tower. The graphics look crisp. It's recreating, I think, in my humble opinion, what the proper type of metaverse should look like, right? A recreated virtual area, right, with real world locations. Like it says right here, real people, real place, real value, with realistic graphics, real world locations, and true identities. We're building a lifelike Web 3.0 metaverse for genuine interactions and value. Join now. We will notify you when we go live, right? And of course, what you see here is just in beta. How impressive is that for a beta? So you could click on that, for instance, just like a lot of metaverse platforms and so on, and the land sales and so on. I haven't seen the specifics, like for instance, if you guys follow the likes of Shiba Inu, for instance, they had a hold, for instance, a little bit, or let's face it, like a fraction of the leash, right? The leash token, which is part of the Shiba Inu ecosystem. And then when Shibarium drops, right, the bone token is used for the gas fees. Now, I'm not saying that, it's going to be the same type of concept with Metabloqs, but you would think, if anything, it might be that, the XDC native coin might be the one that you use for certain transactions and so on. Don't quote me on that, but to me, that kind of makes sense. But if anything, we'll find out more information about that. And if anything, I'm asking some of these questions on Thursday in regards to the AMA that's coming up. Now, I also realize that, at the AMA, they may look at like, well, you need to talk to specifically Metabloqs, team developers and so on. True. But if anything, it's worth asking, because somebody at the AMA might basically have some more info in that regard. When I went further down, for instance, I saw this. And for instance, it says, what's different about Metabloqs, right? That's a great question. So it says, we trust what's real. Real places, like it mentions here. Metabloqs is based on familiar real-world cities that will serve as the canvas for metaverse that is grounded in reality. We're starting with one of the most iconic of all, which is Paris. I think it's really good that they're starting off with Paris. Whether your person likes Paris or not. I've never been to, of course, Paris and so on, but one thing that definitely stands out for me is, they're one of the fashion capitals of the world. So, if anything, like creating like virtual malls and stuff like that, and having, that particular type of theme, to stand out in fashion really can put them over the top, if you will. Check this out, where it says real people. We encourage users to use their real names and are establishing transparent community guidelines to help create a more welcoming civic culture. I don't know how well that's going to go over. I'm just going to be honest with that. And when it comes to online, let's face it, a lot of times people want to, when it comes to having a virtual character, even in gaming, right? Like I myself, right? You guys know me as Maximus, right? This has been literally my gamer name for, since like the year 2000, right? Believe it or not, Maximus isn't my real name. I have friends that call me Max and so on, but, Maximus is not my real name. If anything, it's my online persona and so on, right? And I think if anything, if they're going to insist that people use their real name, again, I don't know how well that's going to fly over. And if anything, some people might just have the attitude, you know what, I'm not going to use my real name. I'm going to make a pseudonym and so on. But if they're insisting that be the case, then you also got to realize that, okay, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because these people are owning plots of land in this virtual environment? Okay, maybe. But with that said, if people have the option of buying some of this stuff, you should also have the option of having their own display name. So again, I can't speak on their behalf, but they also have to realize, this is literally an online environment. Not everybody's going to be cool with really providing the real information for everybody to see. Real value says no play to earn gimmicks. From networking and events to leisure and commerce, we focus on authentic experiences that have intrinsic value. I like that statement because here's the thing. No play to earn gimmicks. You also don't want this to turn into, for instance, not just play to earn, but you don't want it to be play to win, where it gives, like, for instance, you ever play like a free play to earn games, where some of those particular ones, right, are basically, you pay so much and then it's play to win, and it doesn't create a fair level playing field. I like that particular statement. And of course, this, what we were talking about earlier, real ownership, the ownership of the Blocks token, as well as all land NFTs are stored and secured on a decentralized blockchain network. So yeah, I did kind of misquote myself. I think that's the answer right there. You'll have to pay for some of this with the Blocks token. But if anything, it might actually require, maybe the XDC native token in some capacity, to say at least. Going a little bit further down, it says you could become a Meta Explorer. It says our first Metasis, I can't pronounce it right. Meta City is Paris. Dive in and explore one of Europe's most iconic cities. Register now to be notified when we go live. I recommend doing so if you're really interested in this. It's just really, really impressive. You could tell they put a lot of work into this. Excuse me. All great things are built together. I gotta stop basically doing exercise before I come and do a video. I apologize if I sound really winded. All great things are built together. It says land sale coming soon. Own a piece of a true icon, right? Gain early access to some of the most exclusive and sought after land in Paris. That in itself is really cool. So it's not, if you look more into this, see how Eiffel Tower is highlighted and so on. You got other famous landmarks, right? For instance, in Paris. That's really, really cool. We can go explore the map. I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, we have to register. So if you do register and you get in, take a look for yourself. I'm gonna go back, of course, and then let's see what else we got here. I want to point out some of these other key areas. What happened was I had this all outlined for you guys, but it refreshed and so on. But I like this. So for instance, it says host virtual events to foster meaningful interactions with clients, investors, and so on. Kind of like similar to Metabloqs, right? So if you're familiar with Zilliqa's Metabloqs, they have the whole thing set up in which, for instance, you have these domes, and in those domes you can set up virtual events, right, for the venues, virtual concerts, so on and so forth. That's a common theme basically when it comes to these particular metaverses and so on. But I mean, some of these particular clips, I mean, let's click on this one right here. I guess it won't let us, but I was thinking it would. But yeah, it says ready to bring your brand or business to the metaverse. You can schedule a demo. How about this meta football? We saw that particular stadium earlier. It says play football with your friends or colleagues and meet new people. You could play multiplayer. This is the game aspect of it, right? So I like this. I like seeing this. You can create custom avatars, social, the social media aspect of it. Of course, that part's coming soon because, guys, let's be honest, this is, basically still in beta. Some of the art they have with NFTs look really impressive on here. And for instance, I will state this particular one. It says marketplace launch. The Blocks token will be the primary utility and payment token on Metabloqs. So there's our particular answer. And used to acquire land, virtual goods, and access premium services. So I'm now to be the first to hear when our token sale begins. All right, so I don't need to ask this at Thursday's AMA. There's literally the answer to that question. Of course, here's the ecosystem in that regard. Pretty impressive to see that. Here's the team. Quite a few people on this particular team. Very, very impressive. If anything, this is. I mean, I imagine a pretty much a fully doxed team. I'll just do one to, for instance, click on a specific individual. I'll click on this lady, and you can even, it says head of operations Isha, might be pronounced Aisha, I don't know. Vaidya, MBA. I also have my MBA. Is an expert in event management, operations, and quality management. And then you could click on her LinkedIn bio. So that's pretty cool if you're wanting to, know how transparent they are. But I think that's about it in that regard, guys. I was really glad to be able to bring this to you. I'm see if there's any other areas. Yeah, by all means, click on the white paper, part of doing your own research and so on. If you're interested with the land sale, click on that. But man, great timing to say the least when it comes to this. I was really, really impressed to say the least with what I saw here in regards to XDC's Metabloqs. So if you're really interested in this, and you're a metaverse fan, or you're just a person that recognizes opportunity, right? You might not be a fan of the metaverse and so on, but again, the opportunity side of it. Look more into this for yourself. Guys, that's going to wrap up today's XDC video in regards to Metabloqs. So like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching. Check us out on the live show, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, every single day of the week. And all have a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next one.